Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips. And just a couple of announcements. First of all, June is the month for one-to-one smoothie credit. So you buy $1's worth of smoothie ingredients, $1 goes toward a course of your choice. So you can, depending on how frequently you use our smoothie, I have it every day. You can take a lot of free classes that way. So lots to offer too. We have like 3,000 hours of curriculum for you to choose from. I know I promised to make this smoothie and I will do it. It just requires help. And a lot of times I'm filming these things in the middle of the night. And, as nice as my employees are and accommodating, they don't want to come over here in the middle of the night and film a video with. So I'll try to do that. But the ingredients are the vegetable powders, our smoothie mix, green tea from our farm in China, golden organic flax seeds, brewer's yeast, a great source of trace minerals. And then to that, you add plant milk, a banana, and frozen fruit, or whatever fruit you want of your choosing. And it's delicious. I start every day with it. It's filling. One of the reasons why I have a lot of energy, and I do for a person my age, is because I treat food like fuel. I get fueled up in the morning, I get fueled up again at lunchtime, I fuel up several times a day so I can keep going the way that I do. Humans are designed to rely on food for fuel. Second thing, navigating the healthcare system safely. Today's message will tell you why you should be part of that workshop tomorrow. And then the next free not member tour is on June 22nd. Remember, we do these periodically. Not a member, thinking about it, well, you can join us for a tour of our websites and our resources and our libraries, and then I engage in a 20 to 30 minute Q&A, general health Q&A, similar to the types of sessions that you would have access to if you became a member. So the next one's on the 22nd of June. So for today's topic, on May 9th, the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force issued draft recommendations, which stated that women should begin screening for breast cancer at age 40 and have mammograms every 2 years. This is a revision of guidelines that were issued in 2009, which recommended that women start screening at age 50. Both sets of guidelines are based on the faulty hypothesis that early detection with mammography saves lives. This was proven not to be true decades ago, but the practice is so profitable, it's been going on for so long, that the only way it will end, in my opinion, is just increasing numbers of women saying, no, cancer is a very frightening disease, and fear of getting it's driven the screening movement. Mammograms are considered the gold standard for early detection of breast cancer. While promotional programs focus on the false mantra, early detection saves lives, they deliberately do not include qualifying statements about the dangers of repeated exposure to radiation and overdiagnosis. Overdiagnosis is the bigger concern. While often missing fast-growing aggressive tumors that tend to grow between mammograms, we call those interval tumors, they often find harmless abnormalities or pseudocancers like ductal carcinoma in situ, or DCIS. DCIS is defined as the presence of precancerous cells which are localized to a single duct or ducts in the breast. It only develops into cancer about 20% of the time, but almost all women are treated for it, which means that the overtreatment rate is about 80%. This affects about 60,000 women every year just in the United States. The American Cancer Society acknowledges the overdiagnosis risk, stating on its website under limitations of mammograms that, quote, about half of the women getting annual mammograms over a 10-year period will have a false positive finding at some point. Further complicating the issue is over 40% of women ages 40 to 74 have dense breasts, which decreases the accuracy of mammograms even more. There's a very lengthy and referenced article about this in our library. Overdiagnosis is serious because it usually results in overtreatment unless a woman knows better. This starts with a biopsy, which can itself increase the risk of cancer since the procedure drags the cancer cells out of the enclosed environment and through the breast tissue. An article, a very lengthy article about this, is also posted in our library. Incorrect diagnosis often follows, and even the Susan Komen Foundation, which aggressively promotes mammography, acknowledged this in a white paper in 2006 that stated that at the time, over 90,000 women who currently believed that they had breast cancer had been misdiagnosed. Worst of all, the not cancer patients are then treated with surgery, increasingly mastectomy, since Angelina Jolie went public with her bilateral mastectomy a few years ago. radiation and chemotherapy. All of this is not warranted most of the time, and we've known for a long time that this is the case. And if you haven't not familiar with this book, Mammography, Truth, Lies, and Controversy, came out several years ago. It's written by Peter Goethe, who was at the time head of Nordic Cochrane in Denmark. Phenomenal book, very technical, difficult to read. There are slide sets and lectures based on this book posted in one of our libraries as well. So back to the new guidelines. If the old guidelines that recommended routine screening starting at age 50 were resulting in tens of thousands of overdiagnoses, the new guidelines will increase the number of false diagnoses even more. We can't ignore the fact that profit is part of what keeps these types of bad practices in place. The first problem is there's no requirement that anything that I just told you be disclosed, and this has been a pet peeve of mine for a very long time. I mean, the disclosures that are made in order for you to sign a mortgage document are significantly greater, with worse penalties if they're not actually done properly, than the disclosures that are required for medical treatment. So there is a profit incentive. The US spends almost $8 billion on mammograms annually and almost $30 billion on breast cancer treatment. So based on what we know, just applying what I just told you, about 30 billion of this is invested in routine mammograms that aren't warranted in overtreatment. I don't think there's any hope that medical institutions will voluntarily give up this type of cash cow. So as I said earlier, the only way that this stops is for women to just say no. And so a couple of things I'll point out. I said at the beginning that what I was going to share with you today would be a powerful motivator for taking part in the workshop tomorrow, Navigating the Healthcare System Safely. But the other thing is so many people right now would like to have an alternative healthcare system. I'm one of those people. But here's the reality that we have to face. There will be no new healthcare system that can survive unless we rein in costs. You have to understand that every medical system out there right now, all the ones in your city, for example, are taking money from the state and they're taking money from the federal government. Without those subsidies, they couldn't stay in business. So if we just pick up everything we're doing right now, move it to a different location and call it new healthcare, it will go bankrupt. They always do. So what you have to have is you have to have a lot of informed consumers who stop asking for things that aren't effective, and you have to have a lot of informed practitioners who aren't recommending things that aren't a good idea, or at least doing it with full disclosures being made. And that's what I think this will take. That's been my goal from the beginning, is to set up such a healthcare system. But in order for it to happen, we need large numbers on both sides, and we're not there yet. So you can be one step closer to a healthcare system when you become informed, and when you practitioners listening to this decide to become informed practitioners as well. All right, that's all for today. If you're interested in any of the things that I mentioned, my email address is pampopper@msn.com. Please do pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it, and I'll be back to you tomorrow with more news. Thank you for watching.